प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम। राम 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 श्री राम राम राम। पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेत राम नाम। भव समुद्र सुखद नाव एक राम नाम। श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम राम राम। परम शांति सुख निधान दिव्य राम नाम। निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम। श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम राम राम। परम गोप्य परम इष्ट मंत्र राम नाम। संत हृदय सदा बसत एक राम नाम। श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम राम राम। महादेव सतत जपत दिव्य राम नाम। काशी मरत मुक्त करत कहत राम नाम। काशी मरत मुक्त करत कहत राम नाम। काशी मरत मुक्त करत कहत राम नाम। श्री राम 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 श्री राम राम राम। माता पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम। भक्त जनन जीवन धन एक राम नाम। भक्त जनन जीवन धन एक राम नाम। श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम राम राम। राम 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 श्री 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 राम राम राम। सिया गुरु रामचंद्र की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samastagna Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. 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 Om Shri Chin Satgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam, there are different types of dhyanam which are mentioned. One of that is devotional meditation, where the main focus is on some altar. So here we are taking the form of Bhagwan Shiva, that is our altar. The main sadhana there is to keep the mind focused on that form. And having kept the mind there, next step is to think about the glory of Lord Shiva. So whichever text we have studied, Ishvara Lakshana, it might be Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, Bhagavad Gita. We can take any of those Lakshanas to remember the glory of that form on which we are meditating. If you want to put it technically, one is Saguna Sakara Rupa. Saguna Sakara means it is with form, it is Saguna, and there is a specific form that you are holding on to. Second is Saguna Nirakara. If you say Bhagwan is Karma Phaladata, he is not Karma Phaladata through some form. He is formless and he is Karma Phaladata. He is all pervading. Then comes Vedantic meditation, which is Nirguna Nirakara. No attributes, no form. 94% of our scriptures, Vedas, they are prescribing meditation with form. What form? That varies. Upanishadic altars are phenomenal altars. Phenomenal means objects of nature. They'll say meditate on the sun, meditate on the moon, meditate on Himalayas. Pauranic rishis said this is sweeter way to meditate. Meditate upon form of your own Ishtadevata. But we should remember, it is not only a form. The cosmic power is represented by that form. That is why the second part is important, Mahatmya. Bhagwan is sweet, no doubt, but he also has Aishwarya. He also has power. That is what sadhaka tries to meditate upon. If you read 12th chapter, Bhagwan Krishna says, this is the highest form of devotion. Mayeva mana adhatsva, mayi buddhim niveshaya. Doesn't matter which form it is. He says, put your mind in me. Then what will happen? You will not live in the world. Nivasishyasi mayeva. He says, you will come to live in me. Ata urdhvam na samshaya. There is no doubt this sadhaka will progress further. We are trying to look at some of those meditation techniques which are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. It is not directly mentioned. Few verses we are taking from there. Now let us come to our topic. 18th chapter, we were seeing different types of sukham. Sattvic sukham, Rajasic sukham, Tamasic sukham. Now after we have seen all three, we can also go horizontally. Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic sukham. Where are they born from? Sattvic sukham is born from one's own self. Atma Buddhi Prasadajam. Consciousness reflected in a calm, peaceful mind. Really speaking, Sattvic Sukham joy is joy of meditation only. True example, perfect example will be Samadhi Sukham. Everything else that you point out will have some action involved. We saw examples of gardening, cooking. Some action is there. They are good actions, but still they are actions. Rajasic Sukham is born out of contact of sense organ with sense objects. And Tamasic Sukham is born out of sleep, laziness, and inadvertence. That is Tamasic Sukham. How does one come to revel in all these three? Sattvic Sukham reveling happens through practice. Rajasic Sukham, no need of practice. Vasanas themselves push this person. And Tamasic Sukham, it is Naisargika. Naisargika means it is already there. It doesn't need any practice. What is the nature of Sattvic Sukham? In the beginning, it looks like poison, very painful. Nature of Rajasic Sukham? In the beginning, it looks very pleasant. Nature of Tamasic Sukham? It is delusory. In the beginning, what is the result of all these three? Sattvic Sukham result is, it is nectar in the end. It was poison in the beginning, nectar in the end. It puts an end to our sorrow. Rajasic Sukham, what is the result? It becomes like poison in the end. It was very pleasant in the beginning. 7 things are lost for this person. Tamasic Sukham is easy. In the beginning also it is delusory. In the end also it is delusory. Means Bhagwan is telling here, our true spiritual growth is to move from Tamasic Sukham to Rajasic Sukham first, from Rajasic Sukham to Sattvic Sukham. How close am I to Sattvic Sukham? That decides the quality of my spiritual life. In flight, we talk about upgrade from one class to another class. Bhagwan is telling here, upgrade to Sattvic Sukham. Whenever we start getting joy in sadhana, that is an indicator of Sattvic Sukham taking root. There was one Mahatma Ji, one disciple came to him after some time. He said, how is your sadhana going? He said, बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है, ध्यान कर रहा हूँ. He said, बेटा ध्यान कर रहे हो कि ध्यान लग रहा है? ध्यान कर रहे हो means I am meditating. Dhyan lag gaya means mind actually got absorbed in meditation. You see, there is a difference. That mind which gets absorbed, that mind tastes Sattvic Sukham. Okay, Sattvic Sukham, is it pure consciousness or reflected consciousness? How many of you say it is pure consciousness? Atma Buddhi Prasadajam. How many say it is reflected consciousness? Very good. The point is, before we go to original, we should become familiar with reflection. What is Atma Sukham? Atma Sukham, is it reflected or is it pure consciousness? Atma Sukham is not reflected consciousness. Atma Sukham is Atma, which is how the nature of bliss. But before I appreciate Atma Sukham, I should appreciate that Sukham reflected in a calm, peaceful mind. That is a beauty. Introduction to Atma Sukham comes through Sattvic Sukham. Then we were looking at 3 types of buddhi. Let us chant the 30th verse. Pravrutti Nivrutti cha Karya Akarya Bhaya Abhaya Bhandha Moksha cha ya vetti buddhissa partha Sattwiki. What is Sattvic Buddhi? That Buddhi which knows these 4 pairs clearly. First pair was Pravrutti and Nivrutti. It knows what is Pravrutti, duties done diligently. According to our stage in life, we will be given duties. It also knows why to do Pravrutti. Why should one do Pravrutti? For outer prosperity along with inner prosperity. Sadhaka gives more importance to inner prosperity. He says outer will come. He makes sure that he doesn't lose inner in the pursuit of outer. That is his purpose. How to do Pravrutti? He says holding on to Bhagavan. Until when to do Pravrutti? Until he gets Vivekajanya Vairagya. That dispassion which is born out of Viveka. Now, if he has done Pravrutti well, the result of Pravrutti is he gets deep quest for Nivrutti. Really speaking, Nivrutti cannot be demanded. Neither can we take Nivrutti. Nivrutti is mature ripening of that sadhaka. So it is phalarupa. Nivrutti is phalarupa. Means he has very systematically planned his life. How to enter and how to grow out. That is why they say Vanaprastha Ashrama, golden stage in our spiritual journey. Because he has lived a good Grahastha Ashrama life, he has those spiritual samskaras, and now he has the time. See, Vanaprastha Ashrama, also one can get very busy with other things if he is not alert. And some people would get busy with spiritual things in such a way, they will say you have to take an appointment to meet them. Because whole day his routine is busy with spiritual things. Chanting is there, study is there, meditation is there, japa is there. All of that is example of Nivrutti. So sadhaka who appreciates the need for Nivrutti, that person is Sattvic Buddhi. Then we saw Karya and Akarya, what to do, what not to do. Between that also he has clarity. Sattvic Buddhi knows what is to be done, what is not to be done. Third pair that we didn't see yesterday was Bhaya and Abhaya. All of you are with me, right? We are seeing Sattvic Buddhi. Pravrutti Nivrutti, Karya Akarya. Third pair is Bhaya and Abhaya. Sattvic Buddhi knows where to be afraid of and where to be fearless. Sometimes fear is a good thing. Fear towards doing adharma. Fear of doing something which is against values. And also understanding the consequences of it. You see, that's a good type of fear. Let us say there is a child and you have a flame kept nearby and he is walking towards it, unconcerned about whether it will burn or not. Will you call him fearless? You see how he is going. He is not even afraid of that fire. If he is not afraid, parents have to become afraid. When will parents become fearless? When will they grow out of the worry for that child? When he starts developing some fear towards these things. Fire is just an example. Fire represents wrong choices. Starting from alcohol, so many things are there. Fear towards those things is a very good trait. One who appreciates this, that person has Sattvic Buddhi. And it could be simple things. Fear of doing the wrong thing corrects him at the right time. I read one short story. Father and son, they go to some concert. And they were not checking their IDs. Just they would ask, how old is the child? 9 and below, free entry. So this person comes, he says, how old is the child? Father says 9.5. That person said, you could have easily said 9. Because 9 and below, you see that it is free entry. The father says, if I had said 9, I would have won a free ticket, but I would have lost his trust. Because every action leaves an impression. So this sadhaka is somebody who is very alert. Small things, pays attention. He is fearful towards adharma. Now sometimes what happens is, our fear is misplaced fear. Sometimes people have fear of being religious. People have fear of going to temples. People have fear of even going to satsang. What is the fear? Log kya kahenge? What will other people think of me? So where he should see fearlessness, there he is seeing fear. But that buddhi, which understands this clearly, that buddhi is Sattvic Buddhi. Now, where does he see fearlessness? This Abhaya is a very elaborate topic. How does one see Abhaya? They say there are 3 steps by which one comes to be fearless. First step is Dharma Acharanam. Dharma Acharan means holding on to values. The moment we take shelter of untruth, moment we take shelter of deceit, no matter how much safety is there outside, internally he feels insecure. So first step is Dharma Acharan. Now, in spite of doing Dharma, do you think fear goes away 100%? It still remains. I have done the right thing. But that fear is there inside. Second step becomes holding on to Bhagavan. Not only Dharmacharan, but Prabhu Smaran. His anchor becomes the Lord. That becomes his support for becoming fearless. And it's much more powerful than only Dharmacharanam. We are not saying one who is holding on to the Lord is letting go of Dharma. Along with Dharma, he has devotion to God. Sanskrit words are sweeter. Dharmacharan, Prabhu Smaran. Third form of fearlessness is Atma Smaran, where he comes to recognize and appreciate the non-dual truth. If there is nothing other than this consciousness, he says, what am I afraid of? Non-dual truth means there is nothing other than Chaitanya. If there is only Chaitanya, where is my fear coming from? If reality given to duality is removed, there remains no fear of duality. This is an exalted one. Dharmacharan, Prabhu Smaran, and Atmaraman. Atmaraman. Atmaraman means reveling in the self. 3 stages of fearlessness, understands all of them clearly. Okay, this is third pair in Sattvic Buddhi. Last one is Bhandha Moksha. Bhandha Moksha means he understands what is bondage, understands what is liberation. Now somebody might say, where should I start thinking about what is bondage? Imagine if somebody asks us, define bondage, where will we start? Either some person, some object, some situation. Our rishis give us a better framework. They say if you want to recognize bondage, it will always come in the form of sorrow. Look there. No bondage will be joyous. If it was joyous, we would never want to be free from it. First indication of bandhanam is, it is dukkhatmaka. See how much they have captured in that one small definition. They don't point out this is bondage, that is bondage. They say wherever there is sorrow, that is bondage. Now if bondage is understood this way, what will be moksha? To become free from sorrow for good, not momentarily. This is what we call as Atyantika Dukkha Nivrutti. Atyantika Dukkha Nivrutti. This is one stage. He has boiled down to bondage to be sorrow and is seeking freedom from sorrow. Now if he wants freedom from sorrow, he has to look at the cause of sorrow. जब कारण पता चले तब निवारण संभव है. If you know the cause, then you can remove the cause. What is the cause of sorrow? This is cause of sorrow is dushkarma. Erroneous actions they bring dukkham, they bring sorrow. Whether we remember it or not, this is a matter of fact. Bhagwan, in Lakshman Gita, Lakshmanji tells Nishadraj, Kahuna ko sukha dukha kara data. Nobody gives us joys and sorrows. Nijakruta karma bhoga sababhrata. Our own karmas in a different form come to us as joys and sorrow. Don't only take sorrow. Who gives us joy? Not some person. Our own satkarmas come back to us as joy. Dushkarma is cause of bondage. Why? Because sorrow comes from dushkarma. Now he has understood dushkarma is the cause of bondage. What will be his thinking of moksha? To do more and more satkarma. He says, if I take care of my karmas, results I don't have to worry about. And karma phaladata is Bhagavan. He will keep very good account of any satkarma done even in solitude. See, that is one thing about satkarma. More a person talks about it, the efficacy of the result goes away. One person, after dropping his body, he went all the way to Swarga. But the guards over there in Swarga, they stopped him. They said, you cannot enter inside. He said, why can't you enter inside? He says, whatever satkarma you did, you squandered away in talking about it. So your account was sufficient to bring you to the doorstep. To enter inside, it is not sufficient. Because one karma can give only one result. Either we get result in this world, or we get adrushta, which will come in subtler ways. So he has understood bondage to be dushkarma and liberation to be satkarma. At that level, he says, more and more satkarma I do, more and more joy I will get. Now he doesn't stop here. He starts inquiring, why do I end up doing dushkarma? What prompted me to do dushkarma? He says, erroneous resolves, erroneous desires, called as ashubha sankalpas, erroneous sankalpas. Slightly deeper than karma. Karma is only manifest expression. What is there at the root is this desire. If desire prompts dushkarma, dushkarma brings sorrow. What is the cause of bondage? Desire. See where he has come. From sorrow, he has boiled down his cause of bondage to desire. Now his question becomes, why is this desire sprouting in the first place? Desire sprouts because I don't know my blissful self. I feel I'm incomplete right now, and unless I do something, unless I get something, I will remain incomplete. That lack of knowledge of my completeness, lack of knowledge of my blissful self. What is the other name for it? Ignorance, avidya. So he says, main cause of bondage is avidya. If ignorance is cause of bondage, what is liberation? What is cause of liberation? Knowledge alone. Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya has hammered this point. absolute cause of bondage is lack of knowledge of my blissful nature. That prompts a desire, and if desire is strong, one doesn't hesitate to do erroneous actions. That erroneous action brings sorrow. That sorrow is bondage. But looking at immediate bondage, we can trace back to absolute bondage. And if somebody is pakka sadhaka, pakka Vedantin, whenever he observes sorrow, very quickly he is able to trace back to the root. He says, very likely my attention has shifted from the self. In India, they put signboards on highways. Nazar hati, durgatna ghati. The moment your attention shifts, something is awaiting to go wrong. In devotional terms, they will say, moment we forget the Lord, bondage begins. The one who appreciates all different types of bondage, that buddhi is called as Sattvic Buddhi. First appreciates sorrow, then comes to karma, then comes to desire, finally goes to avidya. Those of you who have studied Yoga Vasishta, all these points are mentioned there. 3 different types of bondage are mentioned. One bondage is sankalpa, making erroneous resolves. And true bondage is avidya, giving reality to duality. Now, Rajasic Buddhi. Sattvic Buddhi, 4 pairs, understands clearly. What is Rajasic Buddhi? Yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam cha karyameva cha ayathavat prajanati buddhissa partha rajasi yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam cha karyameva cha ayathavat prajanati buddhissa partha rajasi. Main characteristic of Rajasic Buddhi is ayathavat prajanati. It is unable to decide what is right. Confusion. Both options look very similar. Sattvic Buddhi doesn't have this problem. Sattvic Buddhi says, I'm very clear about what is the right thing. Rajasic Buddhi gets confused. Between what does it get confused? Dharmam adharmam cha. What is righteousness and what is unrighteousness? Second pair it gets confused. Karyam Akaryam. What is to be done and what is not to be done. Should I do this or should I not do this? Do you see some other pairs are missing from Sattvic Buddhi? What are those pairs? Pravrutti Nivrutti, Bhandha Moksha. He says it's very difficult for Rajasic Buddhi to appreciate what is Nivrutti. Difficult for Rajasic Buddhi to appreciate what is moksha. That's why Bhagavan doesn't even discuss them. Now this Rajasic Buddhi, we have to see in our own life, when we have been put in such confusions. Really speaking, if Buddhi is not colored by strong likes and dislikes, decision making is easy. The problem with Rajasic Buddhi is desire pulls it on both sides. Now I will share whatever examples I could think of. In your study group, discuss more about it. Sometimes, let's say one person, he goes to some He wants to travel, railway station. Now there is a long line to get the ticket. And there is somebody who is giving the ticket on the side. You know what kind? He is not a legal agent. One part of his mind says, such a long line, so much pain, I will have to wait here. Another part says, maybe I should take that. Then suddenly he says, but that is not right. But I am wasting so much time here. His mind swings between both these options, unable to decide this way or that way. Tamasic Buddhi will directly go and take it from that person. Will not even ask. Sattvic person will keep waiting. He says, doesn't matter, I will hold on to Dharma. Rajasic Buddhi sometimes comes out of the line, again comes back. I don't know why today railway station examples are coming. Sometimes the train stops in the station. They tell you it is only 5 minutes. But people have this urge, to get down and go for a cup of tea. And there are 100 people there at the stall. By the time your tea comes, train has started moving. One part of him says, train is moving. Although it is slow, I might miss it. But this hot tea is there. He says, at least let me take a sip. He says, that buddhi which cannot decide. Both options look right. Should I do this or should I do that? This also happens when we go to some university. When we have to pick our major. All options look right. Should I do this? Should I do this? Rajasic Buddhi in sadhana, how does it work? Which sadhana should I do? Should I do japa? Should I do dhyanam? Should I do chanting? He says, do something that your heart, I am unable to decide. Everything looks good. Should I do saguna dhyanam, nirguna dhyanam? Lot of confusion. He says that is Rajasic Buddhi, inability to decide. All options look right to it. Now what is the result of Rajasic Buddhi? See, if somebody is clear, he can go ahead. If somebody has erroneous understanding, he will go ahead there. Rajasic person is stuck in between. He cannot move forward either with option A or option B. Even if he goes, his efforts are half-hearted. Because by the time he does one, he feels maybe I should have done the second. And the biggest drawback of Rajasic Buddhi is knowledge doesn't take place in this intellect. Worldly knowledge and absolute knowledge. Until there are doubts, until there are opposing views, no clear knowledge is possible. So Rajasic Buddhi becomes unfit for knowledge. That is our Rajasic Buddhi. One good news is, if that person has little bit sattva, whenever he gets confused, he will ask for help. Because we all have been there. Huh? Nobody can say, I've always been Sattvic all through my life. Oh, that is another thing about these gunas. Don't think these are some persons. They come and go in every person. Predominance might be there of one guna. Even the most sattvic person will get Rajasic at some point, will get Tamasic at some point, but because of his sattva, he is able to handle these two well. That is his beauty. A Rajasic person will get carried away with Rajas. Taittiriya Upanishad, it is said, whenever you are in doubt, ask from subject matter expert. Those people who are kushala in that field, ask from them. Don't ask from the wrong person. Whoever is an expert in that field, get right advice. Sometimes our ego doesn't allow us to ask for help. So Rajasic person can come out of it provided he asks for help. Or get sattva himself and cross over. That is another option. Tamasic one, he is very nice. Adharmam dharmamitiya manyate tamasavruta sarvarthan viparitanscha buddhissa partha tamasi. Adharmam dharmamitiya manyate tamasavruta sarvarthan viparitanscha buddhissa partha tamasi. Sattvic and Rajasic distinction is clear. Sattvic and Tamasic look alike. Sattvic person is very clear what to do. Tamasic person is also very clear. In what thing is he very clear? Adharmam dharmamitiya. Whatever is adharma, very clearly he understands it to be dharma. He says, how can somebody understand adharma to be dharma? He says, that is his uniqueness. Because mind is overpowered by tamas, whatever is wrong, he understands it to be right. Biggest drawback in tamas is he doesn't feel that he is wrong. That is why tamasic person, one should not try to correct too much. Rajasic person, if he asks for help, it is possible to guide. Tamasic person, impossible. Because he says, I don't need help. Manyate tamasavruta. Very clear that adharma is dharma. See, our Puranas come to our rescue. You can take examples from there and appreciate. Duryodhana's character in Mahabharata, whatever he has done to Pandavas, he says this was the right thing, what we should have done. That palace of wax, trying to burn them, giving the poison laddus to Bhima and others. He said, did you do the wrong thing? He says, no. This was the right thing. On paper, if you try to analyze, you wonder, how can somebody consider this to be right? Vidurji tried to correct him. But very quickly he realized there is no point in correcting him. That is Tamasa Buddhi. Sarvarthan viparitansya, not one or two things. He is an expert in misunderstanding everything. Sarvarthan viparitansya buddhissa partha tamasi. Whatever is said in scriptures, he will put forth effort to disprove it. If Bhagwan says, yajna dana tapa, you have to do, he feels dhanam is unnecessary. What is dharma? He understands it to be adharma. What is karya? He understands to be akarya. Something came to my mind. When they say Danam, there is a great symbolism and significance of doing Danam in auspicious places, Tirtha Kshetra. They say if you listen to the Mahatmya of that Tirtha Kshetra before going, mind becomes purified. What is the greatness of Kashi? You hear and then you go there. Mind becomes purified. If we go to that place and take a dip in the river, the mind and body becomes purified. Mind is called Man, body is called Tan. Mahatmya Bodha does Mana Shuddhi. Dip in the river does Tana Shuddhi. And giving Danam there does Dhana Shuddhi. Whatever prosperity a person has, that will bring him joy. 3 Shuddhis happen, but this Tamasic Buddhi thinks all that is unnecessary. What is Dharma understands it to be Adharma. Whatever mistaken beliefs are there. Again in Mahabharata, Shakuni's character. He feels, unless you are deceitful, you cannot survive in this world. Asatyam eva jayate, that is his Mahamantra. He says that contrary belief is Tamasic Buddhi. And in religion also you will find several ideologies which are misunderstood. Even in our life of saints we find such examples. Kanakadasa. Some beliefs were there because of which he was not allowed to enter the temple. And his love for God was such, he just takes Bhagwan's name, goes around the temple, does pradakshina, and he sits behind the idol. Bhagwan was facing east, he sits on the opposite side. And his power of devotion was such, the idol turns around. Even today, if you go to that matha, there is a small window on the opposite side of the entrance. Kanakana Kindi, that is what they call it, small entrance. That is just to show this misunderstanding can happen not only in secular world, but also in religion. Gurudev has a quote where he says, Shastras are always right. It is a Shastri who tends to commit a mistake. Means this buddhi, we have to appreciate how it is working. What is right is understood as wrong. What is karya is understood as akarya. That is Tamasic Buddhi. Okay, Rajasic Buddhi is confused. Tamasic Buddhi is misunderstanding. Now we just have 5 minutes. I don't want to start the next topic. Okay, let's do some Nam Sankirtan. Then we'll pause for break. The Nam Sankirtan is very simple. Only one word. Ram 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 सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। हरिः ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।